Professor, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Third sentence for today, don't worry, be happy. Why? This is my last presentation today and during all the conference. And this is the last presentation the professor from Poland for this conference. So, I have only 13 minutes for my presentation. The subject is the constitutional fundings. 20. I can? 20? Okay. This is the title of my presentation, Constitutional Fundings of Family Policy. First point is introduction. We established the Constitution of the Republic of Poland as fundamental rights for the state based on respect for freedom and justice, cooperation between authorities, social dialogue, and the principle of subsidiarity strengthened the right of citizens and their communities. The quoted fragment of the preamble of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland of 2nd April 1997 portrays the Constitution as a fundamental law. This is one that contains the basis principle concerning the axiology of the law and the cardinal rights that constitute the foundation of the political, social, and economical order. The Constitution, as a set of fundamental rights, is the superior act in the hierarchy of the sources of the legislative law, which means that the law-making organs should, in their activities, concretize the provisions of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland and not establish norms contrary to those contained in the fundamental law. What I have said so far seems obvious to any lawyer who has been dealing with legal theory, hierarchy of sources of law, or constitutional law, since at least Kelsen's time. The key word in this case is the word seems, because in the multicentric legal systems of the modern world, and especially in Europe, it is not so obvious. The increasingly clear clash of national law with European Union law, the increasing role of European courts and tribunals seems to undermine the classic concept of hierarchical construction of the legal system at the national level. In my short speech, prepared from the perspective of Polish constitutional law, I will try to answer three questions. First, is the Constitution the supreme source of law still? Second, what are the constitutional fundings in the field of family policy? And third, what are the effects of constitutional guarantee on family policy? First question. Is the Constitution the supreme fundamental source of law still? It follows from the provision of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland that the sources are of an hierarchical nature, and at the head of this hierarchy is the Constitution, which, in accordance with the content of Article 8, is the supreme law of the Republic of Poland, and its provisions apply directly. The supreme legal force of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland is expressed not only by Article 87, but first and foremost by Article 8, from which it follows that the Constitution is the supreme law of the Republic of Poland. As stated Professor Sarnecki, the supreme legal power of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland is expressed by the Constitution itself in Article number 8, pronouncing the so-called principle of constitutionalism. A consequence of this principle is the development at the same time an element in the role formulated in paragraph 2nd of the article in question, the provision of the Constitution are applied directly unless the Constitution itself provides otherwise. For the formation of the principle of the supremacy of the Constitution, both of the theoretical, legal, and dogmatic plane, the definition of the mutual relation between the Constitution and the ordinary law was and is of paramount importance. It should be emphasized that the principle of supremacy of the Constitution does not at all exclude the special role of the law in the legal system. The consequence of the above in the process of applying the Constitution is the recognition that it is the legislator's duty to make the Constitution concentrate in the first place. The obligation also applies to the consecration of the provision of the Constitution expressing rights and freedoms, including, of course, those indicated in Article 71 of the Constitution. The special role of the legislator is the process of concentrating the Constitution results in a presumption of conformity with the Constitution being attached in the law attached by it. And second question, what are the constitutional findings in the field of family policy? Only two examples. It follows from Article 18 of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland that marriage as the union between a man and a woman, family, maternity and parenthood are under the protection and guardianship of the Republic of Poland. When formulating the above norm, the legislator was undoubtedly guided by the answerness of the value of marriage and family and their importance for the existence and functioning of the nation. In the light of the axiology adopted in the Constitution in force in Poland, the family and marriage are values that occupy a particularly high rank in the hierarchy of constitutional values. In its judgment of 16 July 2007, the Constitutional Tribunal, recalling and developing its previous jurisprudence on marriage and family, pointed out that among the values particularly protected by the Constitution is parenthood, motherhood. In the view of the Constitutional Court, the right to the protection of parenthood can be derived from the Constitution. This right applies not only to married parents, but also to parents of children outside the marriage. Very important for our presentation is Article number 71 of Polish Constitution. The state, in its social and economic policy, takes into account the good of families. Families in a difficult financial and social situation, especially those with many children and single-parent families, have the rights to the special assistance from the public authorities. The mother, before and after the birth of her child, has the right to special assistance from the public authorities. According to the Polish Constitutional Tribunal, this article, Article 71 of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland, indicate above in its title orders that organ of public authority to pursue social and economic policy which takes into account the good of the family and grants family in a difficult material and social situation the right to special assistance from the public authority. The constitutional legislator, in the interpretation of the Constitutional Tribunal, by ordering general concern for the well-being on every family, has determined that families in difficulty for the benefit specific assistance that is beyond the scope of ordinary consideration of their needs. The interpretation of the terms family welfare and special assistance plays an important role in the implementation process. What is the good of the family must be decided by the legislator, taking into account not only the political convictions of the majority, but also the requirement that the Constitution set limit in his regard. According to the Constitutional Court, special assistance undoubtedly has a concerted domination, and it is possible to determine whether the legislator has occupied the public authorities with the legal means to provide it. In paragraph 2 of the constitutional article in question, the legislator stated that the mother has the right to special assistance from the public authorities, the scope of which shall be determined by law before and after the birth of the child. Now, third question, the most important, I think. What are the effects of constitutional guarantee on family policy? At this point, I would like to draw attention to two issues. The first thing, which is relatively obvious, easy, the consequences of recognizing the Constitution as the supreme fundamental law of the state in the process of its application is the recognition that is the legislator who is primarily obligated to make it concentrate. This obligation also applies to the concentration of family legislation, as a number of social programs having statutory rank have been adopted by Polish Parliament, especially in the last 8 years. The most well-known Polish act in this area are the provisions referred to as 500+. The currently ordered legal system is based not only on the assumption that the Constitution should be concretized by statutes, but also on the assumption of eliminating norms contrary to the Constitution from this system. This elimination is carried out on this basis of the rules of existence adopted in the legal system. Among these rules, the conflicts rule lex superior derogat leg inferiori plays a special role. This is the activity of the Constitutional Tribunal. And now the second thing, more complicated. According to the Polish Constitutional Tribunal, the supremacy of the Constitution of the Republic of Poland in relation to the entire legal order in the area of sovereignty of the Republic of Poland is manifested in several levels, 3 levels. In the first place, the process of European integration related to the transfer of competence in certain matters to community bodies is based on the Constitution of the Republic of Poland itself. Next, the supremacy of the Constitution is confirmed by the constitutionally defined mechanism for reviewing the constitutionality of the Treaty of Accession and the Act's constitution in integral components. Finally, the provisions, norm of the Constitution as the supreme act and the expression of the sovereignty will of the people cannot cease by the being ordered by the mere fact of creating an irreparable contradiction between certain provisions. Although the principle of the primacy of the community and European Union, law over national law, is strongly exposed by the case law of the Court of Justice of the European Community and Court of Justice of the European Union. The problem is that legislative action are carried out of the European Union level that contradicted national law. The Committee of Constitutional Affairs has prepared a draft report on proposal of the European Parliament for the amendment of the treaties, agreed by 5 left-centrist fractions. This is something new because this is the report from the August 2023. This report, which proposed 267 changes to both of treaties of European Union, is 120 pages long. According to the Polish Parliament Jacek Saryusz-Wolski, the vote on the report is planned on October 12, 2023, so 3 days before the elections in Poland. The report proposes only some points. Radical centralization of the European Union by transforming in de facto into a centralized oligarchic European superstate. Escaping democratic control, a significant weakening of the member states by reducing and taking over their competence. The general elimination of the unanimity rule in the vote in the Council of the European Union in 65 areas. In addition, the report proposed cultural and ideological changes, replacing the term equality between women and men with the term gender everywhere in the European Union treaties. The report is intended in accordance with Article 48 of the European Union Treaty to launch the procedure for amending the European Union treaties through the possibility covering of the Convention and then as Intergovernmental Conference on the revision of the treaties. If the changes are adopted, it is difficult to imagine its consequences for the law of the member state of the European Union. Conclusion. In the classical approach, dating back to the Vienna School of Law, Kelsen and his friends, the position of the Constitution as the supreme fundamental law in the state is not doubt. In Poland, this has already been confirmed many times in the accession process by the Constitutional Tribunal. The implementation of constitutional norms also in the field of family policy depends on the political will. It is the legislator who sets detailed rules at the level of ordinary laws. Currently, a noticeable problem is the expansion of the competences of the European Union bodies in areas so far reserved for the member states, which is in the future may lead to the imposition of one common family policy. The question is whatever is the beneficial for the family in its classical sense. Thank you very much for your attention.